Okay, your first card is the Karma in reverse. This is actually the Judgment card in the traditional Rider-Waite deck. Okay, see how beautiful that is? And what's interesting about this illustration, so for the Judgment, it's called karma. Then what goes around comes around, but also any decisions or events that come into your life are because of previous decisions and actions. And you'll notice that you have these three witches, Maiden, Mother, Crone, who are looking at this eclipse of the sun. Okay, and I've been meditating on what this new meaning, this new interpretation means. And it's like an eclipse doesn't happen very often. When it comes, it's because you have the moon that happens to circle around and meets the sun at the precise moment. Okay? So it's interesting that the Judgment card is interpreted as karma, because you're looking at cycles, you're looking at that goes around, comes around philosophy. And so when Judgment comes into our lives, it means that new cycles end and there are new beginnings, that eventually what goes around, the sun, the moon is eventually, when eclipses happen, it's because eventually the moon is going to come into a position where it will be in the same position, it will be more powerful than the sun. So I think this is a wonderful interpretation, okay? That whatever you put in comes out, comes back to you. Whatever you put on that karmic circle will eventually make its way around in Judgment. Okay? So a huge change, reverse, Capricorn. So maybe there hasn't been any huge changes, or at least the changes that you want. Maybe there's a marriage or a divorce or a birth or some type of new beginning that you want, but it's not coming to you yet. Okay. The next card is the Emperor in reverse. So this is about karma, and you already have two major arcana cards. This is the Hangman. That's 3 arcana cards in a row. The Hangman is about emotional pain, dealing with difficulties. And it's interesting when you look at this, because he's really in a difficult situation, the way they illustrate this card here. But the halo around his head means enlightenment. He can also represent the highest chakra, the crown chakra, above our third eye, that illuminates and brings wisdom and psychic energy. So while he's in this uncomfortable position, going through this painful experience, he still has the anchor of the pentacles that's keeping him safe, that's keeping him suspended. But even while he's suspended, eventually he's going to figure out how to get himself down. Okay? So the Hangman is about enduring a very painful emotional situation, dealing with difficulties, but also understanding why those difficulties are happening in your life. So it's really interesting the way these 3 cards are coming together here. We have a Knight of Swords in reverse. Those can be very dangerous, especially if it's a particular person. We have the shadow side, which is corresponding to the devil in the Rider-Waite. And this is amazing because this combination actually showed up in an earlier spread where you had karma in the shadow side. Remember, where the moon is eclipsing the sun, darkness is covering light. And so when we get to this shadow side, in the center of your spread, it's the same thing where this idea of light, hiding from the light, hiding from enlightenment. So there's a theme that's developing here. This karma, the shadow side, the hangman. We're talking about light overcoming darkness, or darkness coming into your life. And it doesn't mean necessarily evil things are coming, but it just means a difficult time where it seems everything is going wrong. And I think that's probably why this Emperor, this King of Wands, is in reverse. This isn't the Emperor, this is a King of Wands. Okay, but you do have 3 major arcana cards. I don't know why I thought that was the Emperor, but this is a King of Wands here. And wands represent fire. Okay, and also pentacles represent your energy as well. And so I think it's meaningful that you do have this pentacle here at the base of the tree. The pentacle is still anchoring you. Your common sense and your stability, there's still some stability as you go through this very difficult time. Okay? So we have 3 major arcana that are all speaking or confirming you going through a very difficult time, Capricorn. Your next card is 5 of Pentacles. And once again, this has shown up a couple times in other readings. And I love this illustration because you see it's winter time, the trees are bare, there's no fruit, there's no leaves. Okay? This is when things go to sleep, this is when things die. But it's only temporary because spring will come after winter. There are things growing, there are things that are going to renew themselves. So whatever this difficulty is, maybe it is about money, it's only temporary. Your next card is a Page of Cups. This is heading into your future. And what a beautiful card. Pages represent young people. It can also represent money. You see this girl holding the cup. She's bringing a cup with water, but behind her is this huge tidal wave of water, of emotion, of love. Sometimes this can mean falling in love, the beginning of having feelings for someone. And you kind of feel like a kid, you kind of feel young again, you kind of feel renewed. Okay? And that's a good sign heading into your future. You have the Tower in reverse. So you're getting a lot of strong cards here with this major arcana. This Tower in reverse, usually it means a disaster. You see this crown being knocked off. That represents the ego, but because it's in reverse, it could mean that there is a disaster happening, especially with these feelings, but it seems as if maybe that disaster will not happen. Maybe a disaster's of, you're able to prevent this disaster from happening because so many things have been going wrong so far. And then I have this Two of Swords, okay, in reverse. Now I will shuffle for the outcome card shortly. But I've already explained your major arcana, this difficult time, this difficult period that you're going through. So the future, things are going to get better. I see this karma that's been delayed. I see the King of Wands losing his motivation and creativity. Okay. Feeling powerless. Maybe this isn't you. Maybe this is someone. I think this is you, Capricorn, this hangman. Dealing with a painful emotional situation because this King of Wands is out of control. And maybe this King of Wands has hurt you very much. When we get to this middle row, now we're looking at the Knight of Swords in reverse. And the Knight of Swords, when the Knight of Swords is in reverse, you're looking at an air sign, someone who can be very dangerous with words and manipulation. It can refer This can actually refer to an air sign, and I hope if this happens to represent a Libra man, I hope you have support, because Libra men, after hundreds and hundreds of readings, I've always had women who've talked to me about problems with men and falling in love with men, and usually the biggest heartbreakers are the Libra men. And so when you get an air sign in reverse, I've always seen that. Like, is this guy a Libra? I'm getting a Knight of Swords. And 6 times out of 10, the woman would say, yes, he's a Libra. So, yeah, when you get an air sign and it's reflected in this Knight of Swords, you're getting someone who can be very aggressive. Knights take action. They go to war. Knights also represent huge changes. But if this is representing a person, you're looking at someone who is very manipulative, very smooth with the words, plays mind games, gets inside your head. Okay, so now we're dealing with the shadow side here, this devil. I believe this shadow side is happening because of this Knight of Swords in reverse. And it's led up to a loss. When you see this barren tree here with the 5 pentacles. And pentacles are your energy, Capricorn. I get the feeling that this Knight of Swords in reverse took advantage of you. That maybe for a period of time you were ruined and left destitute. And I don't know, it just seems as if this person is right now, and this is heading into the present, as we go into October, this person is putting you through a very difficult time. You have nothing left to give. That's a phrase that just occurred to me. Now, I think things are going to improve, but I think you need to be aware of any attachment to this energy with the Knight of Swords, even with this King of Wands where things got out of control. But I'm seeing this as a specific person. So as we head into the future, you do have that Page of Cups. And once again, it can represent a younger person. I don't necessarily see all the court cards like kings, knights, and pages as different people. But I do think, Capricorn, that I do kind of feel like there's going to be an emotional shift for you. And when I see this Tower in reverse, remember what I said. It doesn't mean that there's not going to be a crisis. I think that what the Tower is saying to you is to please, please, please be very careful with your feelings. Because your feelings will lead you into a situation that will keep getting you hurt. And that brings me to this last card, this Two of Swords here, where this Two of Swords seems to be about making a decision. And I see this as, you know, attached to this Knight of Swords here, to where maybe this Knight of Swords in reverse, there might be a difficult situation with this Knight of Swords where maybe it's a love triangle and he's trying to choose between you and another person. That's one interpretation that I'm looking at. But I'm also looking at the possibility that you're being lied to, that someone is not being straightforward here, because the swords are always straightforward. You always have a clear decision to make. Which sword will you choose? But when things are not equivocal, and when I say equivocal, when things are not unequivocal, then you're dealing with someone who's not telling you and coming forward with everything. Okay? This Two of Swords, the reversal of choosing and making a decision. The flip side of that is that they're not revealing everything. There's a little bit of dishonesty with this Two of Swords in reverse. There are true intentions behind this. Someone is not necessarily, it could be that someone was not playing dumb. You know, like, oh, I can't choose. I need to make a decision. I'm just going to fall back, you know, until I know what I want. I get the feeling that someone does know what they want. They're just not coming clean just yet. Okay. Now I'm going to shuffle for the outcome card. Okay, I'm going to cut the cards. I have a Five of Cups reversed, and this is very interesting, Capricorn, because this Five of Pentacles was about loss. But now you're going to a Five of Cups reversed. What does that mean? Instead of mourning over the loss of those 3 cups, you look at what you've gained. You've gained 2 cups. You had 1 cup here with the Page of Cups. You're not getting all the cups you want emotionally, but you will get another cup. There's still 3 cups that you want, but you're going to come out with 2 as far as your emotional happiness here. Okay? And that's not a bad thing. I think that the message from this tarot is that you've gone through a lot of emotional upheaval and loss from the Hangman and Five of Pentacles, this shadow side that seems to be a dominant energy in your life. But I think that you're going to slowly, emotionally come out of the shadows. I think you're going to, it could be that things with this Knight of Swords will get a little bit better. Because I kind of see you, you know, maybe this is about a relationship that hasn't gotten started and you're waiting for it to get started. And it's slowly building up. But it seems as if this Knight of Swords, my attention just keeps going to this Knight of Swords, and this Knight of Swords not being fully honest and upfront with you about what's going on. So, you know, getting 2 cups is fine, but if you're not getting everything you want, you need to reconsider why you're with that person and going through all this emotional pain. Okay? That's the message I'm picking up from the tarot. So, that is your reading, Capricorn. Thank you for your support, your comments, your donations, your patronage. Thank you for those of you who've come back to me for readings. I know I have some regulars now, which is wonderful. Thank you for seeking out my services. If you're interested, you can look in the description. And just like everyone else, Capricorn, I hope you've had a wonderful summer. And I hope to talk to you soon, whether on YouTube or through a reading. I will see you in October. Until then, take care of yourself. I wish you love and light.